The United States stands as a global superpower. Its actions resonate across the world. As Americans prepare to cast their votes in the 2024 presidential election, the world watches with bated breath. The outcome will have profound implications for global affairs. From international alliances to economic policies, the next U.S. president will inherit a world grappling with uncertainty and change. The decisions made in Washington will shape the global landscape for years to come. The U.S. election is not just an internal affair. It is a global event. The world is interconnected. The policies of the U.S. have a direct impact on other nations. This is particularly true in areas like trade, security, and diplomacy. The election outcome will determine the trajectory of U.S. engagement with the world. It will also influence the balance of power on the global stage. Stay tuned as we explore how each potential outcome could alter the world order. And don't forget to drop your predictions on how a new administration might change international policies in the comment section. The U.S. has long been a cornerstone of the transatlantic alliance. This partnership, forged in the aftermath of World War II, has been a pillar of global security. However, recent years have seen strains in this crucial relationship. The 2024 election will be a defining moment for the future of NATO and U.S. relations with Europe. Different candidates bring different visions for the transatlantic alliance. President Trump for a more assertive U.S. role, demanding greater burden sharing from European allies. Kamala Harris emphasizes the importance of diplomacy and multilateralism. The election outcome will determine the level of U.S. commitment to NATO. It will also shape the dynamics between the U.S. and key European powers, like Germany and France. Beyond Europe, the U.S. has vital alliances in Asia and the Middle East. These relationships are crucial for maintaining regional stability and countering the influence of China and Russia. The 2024 election will have significant implications for these alliances. It will be a test of U.S. credibility and commitment to its partners in these critical regions. The U.S. economy is the largest in the world. Its performance has a ripple effect on global markets. The 2024 election comes at a time of economic uncertainty. The outcome will have significant implications for global trade, investment, and financial markets. Different candidates propose different economic policies. These policies range from protectionist measures to free trade agreements. The next U.S. president will face challenges such as inflation, supply chain disruptions, and the rise of China as an economic powerhouse. The decisions made in Washington will impact the global flow of goods, services, and capital. They will also influence the economic prospects of nations around the world. Emerging economies in particular are closely watching the U.S. election. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have become increasingly influential in the global economy. The next U.S. president's approach to trade and investment will be crucial in shaping relations with these emerging powers. The U.S. finds itself navigating a complex geopolitical landscape. Relations with China and Russia are strained. The 2024 election will be a pivotal moment in determining the future of these relationships. China's rise as a global power presents both opportunities and challenges for the U.S. The two countries are locked in a strategic competition. This competition spans trade, technology, and military power. The next U.S. president will need to decide how to approach this complex relationship. They will need to balance cooperation with competition, seeking to protect U.S. interests while avoiding conflict. Relations with Russia have reached a new low. The invasion of Ukraine has further escalated tensions. The 2024 election will determine the U.S.'s approach to Russia. It will also influence the future of NATO and the security architecture of Europe. The next U.S. president will need to decide how to deter Russian aggression while seeking areas of potential cooperation. U.S. election is being closely watched by governments and citizens around the world. The outcome will elicit a range of reactions. These reactions will reflect the diverse perspectives and interests of nations. Some countries may see the election of a particular candidate as favorable to their interests. This could lead to closer ties with the U.S. Others may view the outcome with apprehension. This could lead to a more cautious approach, or even a strengthening of ties with other powers. The election outcome will also impact global public opinion toward the U.S. A candidate seen as promoting international cooperation and diplomacy may bolster America's image abroad. Conversely, a candidate perceived as unilateralist or isolationist could damage U.S. standing in the world. The Middle East remains a region of vital importance to the United States. The 2024 election will have significant implications for U.S. policy in the region. This policy will affect regional stability and America's relations with key players. The U.S. has long been involved in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The next president will inherit this complex issue. They will need to decide how to engage with both sides. They will also need to navigate the changing dynamics in the region. The Abraham Accords, which normalized relations between Israel and several Arab states, have reshaped the regional landscape. The U.S. also faces challenges from Iran. Iran's nuclear program and its support for regional proxies remain major concerns. The next president will need to decide how to address these issues. They will need to consider whether to revive the Iran nuclear deal or pursue a different approach. The 2024 U.S. election will have a significant impact on developing nations. These nations, often referred to as the Global South, are looking to the U.S. for leadership on issues such as development assistance, climate change, and global health. Different candidates have different approaches to foreign aid and development. Some advocate for increasing assistance to promote economic growth and democracy. Others believe in a more limited role for the U.S. in international development. The election outcome will determine the level of U.S. commitment to addressing the needs of developing nations. Climate change is a pressing global challenge. It disproportionately affects developing countries. The next U.S. president's stance on climate change will have significant implications for these nations. They are particularly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, such as sea level rise, droughts, and extreme weather events. The 2024 U.S. election takes place against a backdrop of a shifting global balance of power. The rise of China and the resurgence of Russia are challenging the U.S.-led international order. The outcome of the election will influence how the U.S. navigates this new era. Some argue that the U.S. needs to adopt a more assertive foreign policy to maintain its global leadership. They believe in confronting China and Russia directly. Others advocate for a more cooperative approach, seeking to build consensus and address global challenges through diplomacy. The next U.S. president will need to make critical decisions about the future of the international order. These decisions will shape the rules of the game in areas like trade, security, and human rights. They will also determine the U.S.'s role in shaping the global response to challenges like climate change and pandemics. As the world awaits the outcome of the 2024 U.S. election, the stakes could not be higher. The decisions made in Washington will have far-reaching consequences for global stability and the future outlook. The next U.S. president will inherit a world facing numerous challenges. These challenges include great power competition. The rivalry between the U.S., China, and Russia is intensifying. Climate change. The planet is warming, leading to more extreme weather events and rising sea levels. Global health. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the vulnerabilities of the global health system. And technological disruption, artificial intelligence, cyber warfare, and other emerging technologies are transforming the world in unpredictable ways. The U.S. has a responsibility to provide leadership in addressing these challenges. The 2024 election will determine whether the U.S. embraces this responsibility. It will also determine whether the world moves towards greater cooperation or conflict. The U.S. election is a reminder of the enduring importance of U.S. global leadership. The world is looking to the U.S. for direction, stability, and a commitment to addressing global challenges. Regardless of who wins the election, the U.S. has an opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to the following principles: international cooperation, working with other nations to address shared challenges; the rules-based international order, upholding the norms and institutions that have underpinned global stability for decades; and democracy and human rights, promoting freedom, justice, and human dignity around the world. By adhering to these principles, the U.S. can continue to play a positive role in shaping a better future for all. The 2024 election is not just about choosing a president. It is about choosing the kind of world we want to live in. What are your thoughts? Will America strengthen its global partnerships? Or could we see a rise in economic and military isolationism? Share your predictions in the comments. Let's see where you think this global story is heading.